Good afternoon, students. This video is on how this video is actually a very simple video which will be only to add controls to our applet. Now, what are these controls? Controls are graphical objects that helps the user to interact with the applet. So there are different types of controls and all of them are AWT control. If you remember what is an AWT class, that is a abstract window toolkit that is there with our JDK for creating the uh, controls. All right, so here we'll be talking about how we can add the controls. Now these are some of the controls that is already there, but apart from this there are many other controls also, like labels. They help you to identify other controls. Push buttons are just like your buttons. Checkbox, as we know that we can do, if we want to choose multiple options, then we can use checkbox. All right, choice list. Choice list helps you to, like, there are different types of this is like radio buttons, then list boxes and many other controls. So scroll bar, text editing, for example, using a text box, a text area and all those things. You can add a control by simply using the method of the component, that is add. Right, and if you want to remove it, you just have to call the remove method. That's how simple it is. So what we do is very simply we create an object of the control, and then what we do is that we add them by using the add method. Right, so here in this example that I have already created, right, so this is a very simple applet, as you can see. Now this actually we don't need, because we don't need this action listener. If you want your applet to react to the controls, then you need the particular action listener, if it is a mouse motion or keyboard event or whatever. All right, so you need that particular action listener. So here in this example I'll be only actually handling the action listener of the buttons. That's why I use the action listener. But if you're just going to simply add the controls to the applet, you don't need this means you don't need this implementation of the action listeners, because you're not handling any events. But if you're handling events, you need this one. So let me just show you how we do it. So there are various methods, classes, and this one that has been added in this particular project. For example, applet, okay, AWT classes, all the classes, then some action listeners. All right, so action event and the action listener. So that's because I'll be listening to the event of a button. So what we are doing in this program is that in that applet we are going to add a level. To add a level, we create a level. How do we create a level? We just have a level object which belongs to the AWT class, and what we do is that we just add levels like 1 2 3. These are the names. All right, similarly a message, just to display this message. Buttons, again same. Checkbox group, that is required when you want to create radio buttons. From the checkbox you can create radio buttons. This is a choice. This helps you to create something called a combo box. That means only one at a time you can choose. All right, combo box or something like this. Can you see this? This is an example of a combo box. All right, then you can create a list box. A list box you must be familiar with, where you can give a list of items and the user can choose. Text fill, this is where you can create the text boxes, and text area is a larger text box with more capacity. That means you can add multiple lines to this one. So in this program we are doing it. Now I have simply created methods like level demo, button demo. This is for the buttons, for reacting to the button. So we need the action, what action performs. So this we have already done before by means in our previous this event driven programming, where you can add all these actions. But as I said, what we do is that we create the objects of the particular control. Then, like here we create, this is for this is what where we declare the objects, right? And this is where we are creating it, new level, and on top of the level the name will be 1, on top of this level will be 2, and this one 3, and then finally we add it by simply using, as I said, using the add method. Add 1 means it will add this level. Similarly add to this one and this one. Similarly this button, here we are creating the buttons, what will be written on top of the button, and then finally you add it. This is for listening to the action. Right, for this already a video has been created. I have shown you how we can listen to different kinds of events. And of course for paint method is for writing something in the applet. Then you can see this one is a button list, means you want to create a array of buttons, so you can create that by using this console. Okay, this is a checkbox. Right, so what do? We have a checkbox, and then we create the checkbox, give what content means what should be written next to it. Right, and if you want the button to be checked, in the at the beginning, then you just give true. If you leave it, then it will be like unchecked button, right? So this is a checkbox. So there are three checkboxes, and finally we sorry, four checkboxes, and we add them. Similarly, you can add a radio button, but to add a radio button, you need something called a group, checkbox group. The moment you add the checkbox, can you see this? We added up this one, all right? Now the group, we have mentioned the group over there. In the previous case, the group was null, right? So here we have added the group. The moment you add it to a group, then they belong to like particular, so that you can choose only one item. So the checkbox only, you can see this is also checkbox, this is also checkbox. But the moment you add a group, it becomes a radio button. Combo box, same thing. You can create combo box by using the component called choice. So you have two combo box, one is OS and one is a browser. And in the OS, what are the items that you want? You can just say add, and then you write the name. You can see that same OS, right? So you have added this in the combo box. Similarly, in the browser, you have added this, and then finally you add these two combo boxes there. List box, same way, just list, right? How many items? True false means multiple select is allowed it, and this one multiple select is not allowed. So similarly, we have a text box. So there are two levels, and then we have two text field. Text box, to create text box, we need a component called text field. How many characters it can take? This one is a password. Now how do you make a password character? Just say pass equals to set echo character question mark. So every time they will type, it won't display the character, it will display a question mark. Again, adding up all the components. This is for adding up a so-called a text area. So text area means larger. So you have very big contents of large number of text. You want to add it. You cannot. The text box is not a good way to do that. So what we do is that we create a new text area, and then finally in the initialize method, I call all those method. Of course, I call this listener also. Why? Because we want that when you click on it now, yes, no, maybe, if you remember, these are nothing. These are the buttons. The action listeners are only added for the listeners, right? So here is the see, yes, no, maybe, these are buttons. So the action listeners are only for the button. So that means everything else, all the controls won't react, only the buttons will react because the action listener is there. Similarly, you can add whatever action listeners or whatever listener you want to add for the particular controls over here. So let me show you by running this applet. So let me run. So here it is. So it looks messy, but as I told you, there are all these controls, as you can see over here. So here you can see a lot of controls. All right, for example, these are labels cannot be edited. This is the buttons, remember? So if I click on it, see, it reacts because the action listeners are there. But if I do anything to this, nothing happens. Why? Because there is no action listener. Now this is what is a checkbox. Now this was true, so that's why this is checked. All right, and these are combo box because we added them to the group, and these are your so-called this is your combo box. All right, and you can see there are two combo box. All right, similarly there was list box added somewhere. I think it went yep, I think I did not add the list box over there. So you just have to call the listener method, and it will be added up as a list over there. This is the text area. These are the text boxes. All right, it looks messy. You can design it very nicely by using your concept over here. All right, so this is an example of how we can add different components in the applet. Thank you.